I never thought leaving Islam would cost me my life, but it almost did. My name is Fatima Hassan, and this is my story. The day they found out I had left Islam, everything changed. I was no longer their daughter, their sister, or their friend. I was a disgrace, and to them I deserved to die. I remember the fire, the pain, the smell of my own flesh burning. I thought it was the end, but it wasn't. Because in that moment, when my body was being destroyed, I left this world and I saw something I never expected. I saw Jesus. I felt his presence, his love, and what he told me changed everything. This is my testimony. This is how I died and came back forever changed. I was born into a devout Muslim family. From the moment I could speak, I was taught how to pray, how to recite the Quran, how to obey. Islam wasn't just a religion in our home. It was our identity, our entire way of life. Questioning it was unthinkable. For years I followed every rule. I fasted during Ramadan, I covered myself as I was told. I did everything to be the perfect Muslim woman, but deep inside I struggled. There were things I didn't understand, things that made me feel distant from God instead of close to him. But I kept those thoughts to myself. Doubt was dangerous. Asking the wrong questions could mean punishment, shame, or worse, so I stayed silent. But then something changed. I started hearing stories about Jesus, stories I had never been told before. I had always been taught that he was just a prophet, nothing more. But when I secretly read about him, something inside me stirred. Why did his words feel so different? Why did his message feel personal? I couldn't ignore the pull I felt toward him. I started searching, reading, watching testimonies of people who had encountered Jesus. And then the dreams started. I would see a man in white, glowing, peaceful. He never spoke, but I felt his presence, his love. I didn't understand it at the time, but something inside me knew it was him. The more I learned, the more restless I became. If Islam was the absolute truth, why did I feel so lost? Why did I feel so empty? I knew I couldn't ignore what I felt anymore. The moment came when I made the most terrifying decision of my life. I chose to walk away from Islam. But leaving wasn't just about changing beliefs. It meant losing everything: my family, my community, my safety. I kept it hidden for as long as I could, but secrets don't stay buried forever. I prayed in silence, read the Bible in hidden corners, and spoke about my doubts only in whispers. But secrets have a way of coming to light. One day my family found out. It started with suspicion. Why wasn't I praying anymore? Why did I seem different? And then they found my Bible. The moment they saw it, the house erupted into chaos. My father's face twisted in anger. My mother broke down in tears, and my brothers, they looked at me like I was a traitor. I tried to explain, but they wouldn't listen. To them I had brought shame to our family, to our name, to everything they believed in. Their love turned to hatred in an instant. The people who had raised me, who had once protected me, were now the ones I had to fear the most. At first there were threats. They told me I had to repent, to return to Islam, or there would be consequences. But I couldn't. I had seen the truth. I knew Jesus was real. No matter how much I begged for their understanding, their hearts had already turned to stone, and then the threats turned into something far worse. One night, they cornered me. My pleas meant nothing. Their minds were made up. I remember the first strike, the force of the blow knocking me to the ground, and then the hands grabbing me, dragging me outside. The air was cold, but their rage burned hotter than anything I had ever felt. I saw the container of gasoline before I smelled it. The liquid soaked my clothes, dripping down my skin. I screamed. I fought, but they held me down. The match was struck, and then fire. I cannot describe the pain. My body became an inferno. Flames crawled up my arms, my legs, my face. My screams filled the night, but no one came to help. No one stopped them. I collapsed. The world blurred. My vision darkened. I could feel my life slipping away. the agony fading into numbness. I thought this was the end. But then something happened. The pain disappeared. The sounds around me faded. I was no longer on the ground, no longer in my body. I was somewhere else, somewhere beyond this world. And that's when I saw him. As the fire consumed me, everything faded. The pain, the screams, the world itself. It all slipped away. I felt weightless, as if something was pulling me, lifting me out of my body. Then I saw it. My own body, lying on the ground, charred and lifeless. My family stood around me, some in shock, others turning away. I should have felt pain, but I didn't. Instead, I felt detached, as though I was merely observing someone else's suffering. But then everything changed. The world around me vanished, and I was plunged into darkness, a deep, suffocating void. It was colder than anything I had ever felt, not just physically, but in my soul. I was utterly alone, and then the whispers began. They came from every direction, harsh, mocking voices. They accused me, condemned me. You betrayed the truth. You left the path. You deserve this. The weight of their words crushed me, and fear wrapped itself around me like chains. Was this hell? Had I made the wrong choice? I wanted to scream, to run, but there was nowhere to go. The darkness felt endless, and just as despair began to consume me, a light appeared. At first it was distant, just a faint glow cutting through the blackness. But it grew brighter, warmer, and suddenly I wasn't alone. I heard my name. A voice, strong yet gentle, called to me, Fatima. And then I saw him, Jesus. He stood before me, surrounded by a light so pure, so radiant, that I couldn't look away. It wasn't just light, it was love. Love so deep, so overwhelming, that for the first time in my life, I felt truly whole. I fell to my knees. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. I just wept. And he reached out, his eyes full of compassion. You are loved, you are mine. It is not your time yet. In an instant, the fear, the guilt, the loneliness, all of it disappeared. I felt peace like I had never known before. Then I saw something else, a glimpse of a place beyond this world, a place filled with joy, love and worship, a place where there was no pain, no fear, only pure, eternal peace. I knew without a doubt that I was seeing heaven, and in that moment, I understood. I had been searching for him all my life, through all the doubt, the fear, the rejection. He had been calling me. He had never abandoned me. You must go back, he said. Tell them what you have seen. Tell them about me. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay in that light, in his presence. But before I could say anything, I felt myself being pulled back into the world, back into my body. And then with a gasp of air, I woke up. My first breath back in my body was like being pulled out of deep water. I gasped, choking on air, my lungs burning. I could hear voices, shouting, crying, but they all seemed distant. The pain returned in an instant, searing through my body, but something inside me was different. I had just been in the presence of Jesus. I knew that for certain. When my family saw me alive, their faces twisted in shock and fear. I should have been dead. The doctors had already said there was no chance of survival. My burns were severe. There was no medical explanation for why I was breathing again, and yet I was. They rushed me to the hospital, where the doctors looked at me as if they were seeing a ghost. She shouldn't be alive, one of them whispered. They told me even if I survived, I would be in agonizing pain for the rest of my life. But something incredible happened. I began to heal faster than anyone expected. The scars that should have taken years to fade began to disappear. The doctors couldn't explain it. The nurses called it a miracle, but I knew exactly what it was. Jesus had touched me. He had brought me back for a reason. When I was finally able to speak, I told them everything. I told them about the darkness, the voices, the fear, and then the light, the love, the moment I saw Jesus. But not everyone believed me. Some called it a hallucination. Others refused to listen at all. My own family turned colder, realizing I hadn't changed my mind. I had only become stronger in my faith. But none of their doubts could shake what I knew to be true. Jesus was real. He had saved me, not just from death, but from eternal darkness. I had to share what I had seen, even if people rejected me, even if it meant standing alone. I couldn't stay silent. As I recovered, I realized I wasn't the same person who had once lived in fear. The questions that had tormented me for years were gone. I didn't need to search anymore. I had found the truth, or rather he had found me. My story spread slowly. People began to listen. Some came in secret, whispering their own doubts, asking about the Jesus I had met. Some who had been lost like me started seeking him for themselves. I was no longer afraid, not of death, not of rejection, not of what would happen next, because I knew I had met the Savior, and nothing would ever be the same again. I was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. For so many years I lived in fear, afraid of asking the wrong questions, afraid of losing my family, afraid of what would happen to me if I turned away from what I had always known. But when I finally let go of that fear and sought the truth with an open heart, Jesus found me. He didn't come to me with anger or condemnation. He came with love, with open arms, calling me his own. If you are searching, if you feel that emptiness inside, I urge you, don't ignore it. That longing in your heart, that restlessness in your soul, it's not meaningless. It's Jesus calling you, just as he called me. He is real. His love is real. I know what it feels like to be afraid of the truth, to wonder if following it will cost you everything. But I am here to tell you, it is worth it. No matter your past, no matter your mistakes, Jesus offers you a new beginning. He offers love, redemption, and a peace that nothing in this world can give. If you have ever wondered about life after death, this is proof. There's something beyond this life. There is a God who loves you, who sees you, who wants to bring you into his light. If you're unsure, if you're searching, just ask. Ask God to reveal himself to you. I promise you, he will, just as he did for me. This is my story, but it doesn't have to be just mine. It can be yours too. My story is not just about pain and suffering. It's about redemption, about the overwhelming love of Jesus. I was lost, but he found me. I was dead, but he gave me life again. I faced the ultimate price for leaving Islam. I was betrayed, abandoned, and burned alive, but in death I met the one who is truly alive. Jesus. He rescued me, healed me, and gave me a new purpose. Now I live to share his love with the world. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you believe in near-death experiences? Have you ever felt something divine in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. If this testimony touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more powerful testimonies of faith and transformation. And if you're searching for the truth, know this: Jesus is waiting for you. His arms are open. The truth is out there. Are you ready to find it?